Ladies and gentlemen, Hex community of all ages, hey, Jake Freedom here, coming to you live from YouTube for this week's HexDekanomics. And this week here, we're going to bring you a deck that somewhat resembles a few of the decks, or a lot of the decks that came out of some of the VIP tournaments. Obviously, they're not going to be mimicked because those are insanely expensive to build. Well, when I say insanely expensive, I'm meaning $100 plus to build those. So I've kind of thrown together a deck, I've toyed around with it a little bit, that comes in under $25, that has some of the same cards, but obviously it's not going to have all of the cards. I've had decent success with it in the arena. It falls short in some areas, but you know, it's kind of fun to play. It's kind of a control, basically it's kind of a control deck, more or less. More or less it's a control deck. So let's take a look at it here. And I've called this one Arena Control 3 because I've kind of modified it a few different times there. So let's take a look here. What we got? It's Ruby Sapphire. This was the top colors played in the January and March VIP tournaments. If you watched my State of the Standard, that was one of the stats I wanted to actually look up to see how many, you know, what colors were played the most. Ruby Sapphire and Ruby Sapphire colorless, but tied. They were played the most, in the next closest one, I think there was like 25 decks total that were Ruby Sapphire colorless, and the next closest one was like six decks played the next color. I don't remember exactly what it was. But anyway, so Ruby Sapphire is obviously a very powerful color combination in the current standard when it comes to the VIP tournaments. Now that's not saying that it's, you know, as popular in some other tournaments. You know, maybe there's, you know, tournaments going on out there. I know there's a resource that a viewer gave me that I looked at a little bit. I didn't quite study it extensively yet, but you know, from what I did see, it looked like, again, Ruby Sapphire was being played the most. So with those few stats, we can probably determine that Ruby Sapphire is probably one of, if not the most powerful color combination in the current standard as it stands right now. So anyway, onto the deck. What do we have here? We have 11 Sapphire Shards, 11 Ruby Shards, and 4 Shards of Invocation. As far as cards, we have Burn, 4 of those. We have 2 Burn to the Ground, we have 2 Rage Fires, 2 Cerulean Mirror Knights, 2 Dream Dances, 4 Time Ripples, 2 Verdict of the Ancient Kings, and we have 4 Buccaneers. I just have a couple alternate art Buccaneers in here. 3 Cerulean Mentalists, and we have 4 Counter Magics, 2 Mesmerize. We have 1 Rampaging I can't even pronounce this guy's name. Tarasicu. He's just kind of for a long game, need a heavy hitter to come in. The board's, you know, empty for everybody. Just throw him in there. And he's a pretty cheap card too. And then we have 2 Menacing Grulks here. And basically these here, obviously everybody knows they exhaust the opposing troops when it comes into play. Now, I just got done playing a game, just testing this deck. This is a new modification that I just played once, and Menacing Grulk ended up winning the game for me. Because basically what I did is I brought him in, exhausted the troops. They were already exhausted, so they couldn't ready on the computer, the AI's next turn. I played him, and then they couldn't ready. It was my turn. I attacked. I bounced him back to my hand, played it again. I actually did that twice. He was down to like 6 health or whatever, so did that twice to eventually end up swinging in for the win. Will you be able to do that every time? No, I wouldn't rely on that. This is kind of just a helper card to get some damage through, not as an actual game winner. I wouldn't say any card in here is going to be a game winner outside of this one here, and there's only one of them, so you can't bank on that either. Basically, you're just banking on, obviously, controlling the board as much as you possibly can to get some damage through. Burn to the Ground's a good finisher. If you get your Rage Fire cycled a couple times, they're a good finisher. And obviously, we have the Cerulean Mirror Knights and the Cerulean Mentalists here for some card draw. We have Dream Dance thrown in here, so if we get that out early enough, and then we get all of our troops that come into play, will give us we'll draw a card and then discard a card as well. Probably not maybe the best card, but again, it's card draw, and it seemed like a lot of the undefeated decks had a lot of card draw on it, and this was the cheapest, one of the cheapest ways to get some card draw outside of the Mirror Knights, which are pretty expensive. The Mentalists aren't that expensive, but the Mirror Knights are far more expensive than the Mentalists there. So that is the deck, and the champion that I've chosen here is Lionel Flynn. I've toyed around with Polka, Feather Drifting, and Lionel here. They all have, obviously they all have their viable, you know, attributes to them. You know, flight, create a 3/1 troop comes into play. You know, speed. Lionel Flynn here, he gives a troop +3 attack, I believe it is. He gives it +3/+0. So again, it was the game I just played was the first time I played with him, and it seemed to come in pretty handy. I was able to get a little bit more damage through. So you know, the champion's kind of open, whatever you want to do. The flight's kind of nice for some evasion because there's only what, one card in here that has flight for evasion there. This Polka is that one's probably the best champion that I could that you might be able to go with, because with the amount of control you can bounce all the troops out of the plane just to get that damage through. But again, it's, you know, that troop goes away. One thing you can do with the Blaze Elemental that gets created is you can bounce it back to your hand. So I don't know how many people actually do that. So then it doesn't die at the end. So then let's just say, for example, you have Cerulean Mirror Knight out, and this one is when the troop dies, you draw a card. You know, it comes out, you bounce it back to your hand, you know, and it comes out again. It should get that stat twice. So when it dies, finally, when you don't want to bounce it back to your hand anymore, if you actually draw 2 cards from it. Same goes for the Cerulean Mentalist. If you can get that out there twice, you know, and deal damage, and then deal damage again, you know, it should get that stat twice. So it's one of those things, like, do you really want to bounce that token card back to your hand? You can, but is it worth it? Depending on the board state. So that's the deck. Let's go ahead and let's play a game with it. See what happens. Let's hop into the Proving Grounds here, and we'll go and play the computer, and we'll see if we can actually win a game, or are we going to keep, again, our streak alive where we have yet to win one of these games on camera. And looks like we're playing Polka again. This is the truth. This is the AI player I just played, so we'll see how we do this time. And our opening hand doesn't look too bad. You know, I'll keep that one. I can't complain. Got enough resources to play everything. Obviously, we can't do anything until turn 3 on our opening hand, but that doesn't mean we won't draw into something that we can play. So what we'll start out with here is we'll start out probably with a Ruby Shard, just in case we draw into a burn. Since none of these cards here require dual Sapphire Threshold, we should be okay to do that. So obviously we're going to take some damage here, which isn't a big deal. It's only 2. She's getting a much quicker start this game than she did last. So see what we can do here. We're falling behind pretty quickly. Let's just hope that she can't do anything this turn. Let's hope she lays her hand out pretty quickly and then can't do anything at all. So again, we're going to take another 4 damage here. Now we're actually going to be able to play something, so we'll probably play the Cerulean, or we might play a Buccaneer. Alright, so we got a Rage Fire here. What would be, let's see here, it's 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, take another 4. I think probably our best bet here would be to, let's play the Mentalist, because we'll be able to block something. We're actually going to take some more damage here, but hopefully she'll just burn out and then have to just be top decking from there on out. Okay, here comes the Blaze Elemental, which is not good, so we'll just go ahead and block. Hopefully we don't have a combat trick up our sleeve. We do not, as of yet. Alright. So not too, well, we are down to 4 health already. Holy smokes, that was quick. Alright. So what do we do here? Rage Fire, not going to get rid of that guy. We could get rid of him. We are... Wowzers. What do we do here? It's toughy. Do we gotta actually, we gotta kill something. We'll be able to block something. I think we have to get rid of one of these guys here. I think we get rid of him. I think that would be best. Just get the Rage Fire cycled. If we play a Buccaneer, we could bounce something, but we could bounce the Gore Master, which might not be bad. Still gonna come back out. I think we do that. We'll just get some troops on the field. We'll bounce the Gore Master. Since that's currently the one that's got the most health and we can't successfully deal with that one. We're not going to attack. See what its plans are here. I'm guessing the Gore Master will probably come back out. Okay, so let's go ahead and just block with that. So that will die. Here comes the Gore Master, which is fine. We can again bounce it. We can't quite kill it yet. Now we could kill it, but it would take 2 Rage Fires to do it. Do we really want to do that? I'm not sure if I really want to do that or not. So if we play the Buccaneer, bounce it again, it will still be able to be replayed. I think we'll do that. Here's what we'll do. We'll play the Buccaneer. We'll bounce the Gore Master again. I kind of like that idea. Then we'll play a Rage Fire to kill this. Alright, and then we'll use our champion power to pump up the Cerulean Mentalist, since it has the most health. And then we'll go ahead and swing in for 7. We'll get a card draw off of this. Okay, that's fine. Alright. Okay, Crackling Bolt, 3 damage. You know, that was, I probably would have played that against me, but... Alright, so we get rid of one of our troops there, which is fine. The Wrath Seeker coming out. We left ourselves empty on resources there, so we can't counter that. Let's try to keep that in mind. We obviously knew we were going to do that. So we have 2 counter magics in hand. So we could use the Rage Fire to get rid of him. Do we want to do that though? I don't think we want to. Do we? Let's see what he does here. Let's go ahead and just go ahead and attack. If he blocks, that'd be great. If not, we'll use the Rage Fire. That's gonna pump up to 2. So let's go ahead. God, that's 4 damage right there. Get him down to 2. I'd be at 2. No, I think we're gonna get rid of this troop just so he has nothing to attack with. I think that'd be best. And then if he tries to lay anything, we'll be able to counter it to keep the board clear. Okay, so we got another Gore Master. Let's just go ahead and counter it since we can. Keep the board open for us. And we should hopefully be able to swing in for the kill here. Turning our streak around because he has no more resources. Can't play with anything. So let's go ahead and swing in for 7 and go for the win. So there you go. That, I think, is the actual first win we've had on camera with HexDekanomics. As you can see, the deck has its shortfalls. It's not perfect. It's not going to be perfect. This deck actually came in at $24.34. It'd be 2,434 platinum to build the deck from scratch. Now, obviously, commons and uncommons most of us probably have. You might have to buy, you know, a Rage Fire. Maybe, you know, I doubt even have to buy a Burn to the Ground. Dream Dance, maybe not. You know, most of these you guys probably have, so you could probably throw this deck together for a lot cheaper than that. I'm saying that's just buying it from scratch. So that is this week's HexDekanomics with this version of a control deck that is somewhat similar to what's been played in the VIP tournaments that have been undefeated. Looks like it's not the exact same, but again, we can't build that because we want to keep it fairly cheap. So, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to let me know something about the deck, be sure to leave a comment down below. If you have a deck that you'd like to submit that you'd want me to showcase on HexDekanomics, let me know about it either via comments or, you know, in-game email, you know, whatever you guys want to do. Doesn't matter to me. Be glad to showcase it for you. Other than that, if you like the video, like I said, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more HexDekanomics or the other series we do on here, Hex Update Saturday, be sure to click subscribe down below, and we'll have another video for you soon.